speaking today with Loyal Wooldridge, the NDP candidate in the newly created Kelowna Centre riding. Loyal, welcome to the provincial campaign as opposed to the municipal campaigns. What's the difference? What are you finding? Are you finding anything different in how you're approaching this?
Well, thanks for having me, Wayne, and it's good to see you outside of council chambers. Miss seeing you there. Honestly, this isn't much of a surprise for me. You know, I've been busy doing the work on council for the last 2 terms with the intention to eventually run provincially, to really understand our city from a grassroots level, the challenges we have, but also the solutions to overcome them, which I think is really important. So there's not a lot of surprises for me going into this provincial election from an actual policy perspective. Of course, the shenanigans and the bizarre nature of this election is interesting, but the policy side, the actual work that matters, doesn't surprise me at all.
Yeah, you'll be able to tell people 30 years from now that you were involved in probably the craziest time in BC political history.
I can't wait for the next book. It'll be great.
You are running for the BC NDP, which is for many a surprise. Why did you choose the NDP as opposed to maybe a party that you might have voted for in the last election?
Yeah, you know, it's not news to me that the BC NDP has never won here in Kelowna before, but at the end of the day, I chose a party where I felt that I can best deliver the results for people in Kelowna, and having worked alongside this government for the past 6 years, they've invested here, they've collaborated with the city of Kelowna, not because this is a stronghold, but because it's the right thing to do. And that just speaks to the integrity of the party. And then for me, it's really aligning with the values of taking care of people. You know, while the right wings are over there fighting amongst themselves, trying to figure out who they are, we're busy to get to work for people, and we know that times are really tough right now, and we're not shying away from that. There's a lot of work to do, and I'm well aware, but we're making progress, and I can't wait to get to work in Victoria.
You're in a brand new riding, as we mentioned, Kelowna Centre, which is kind of amalgamated downtown Kelowna from the old Kelowna West riding, and also Glenmore from the former Kelowna Lake Country riding. You've got urban, you've got rural-ish. Talk about the dynamic of that riding.
I love Kelowna Centre because it's a mix of everything. You've got, like, I live in Glenmore, then you've got downtown, and you run all the way up to Catter, following the highway up to Academy Way. So there is a lot of diverse perspectives in our riding. I love it because I'm most passionate about the social challenges that we have in Kelowna, which of course is right in the heart of my riding. And so there's a lot of work to do there. Brand new riding, no incumbent, but finally we can have a Kelowna representative represent all of that riding instead of having someone from West Kelowna kind of representing a portion of our city.
You're running for the government, obviously. Housing and healthcare, both major issues in this campaign. Yeah. And I mean, everything basically lays on the doorstep of the government, which is the NDP. And, you know, the fact that things have digressed and regressed since the party's been in power. How do we trust the government to fix what's going on?
Well, frankly, they inherited a really sick patient from the BC Liberals. We had a previous government that cut ministries by 15% across the board and left this government with a mess to mop up. So they also inherited, they had a pandemic to deal with. So that has impacted our healthcare system immensely. There's a lot of work to do, but we can't shy away from the fact that services people rely on have been under-resourced. Housing, we saw government exit the housing business for about 2 decades. That has massive impacts when we have Gen Z that's coming up with a huge population that's going to rely on more housing. We have baby boomers retiring out of the healthcare system. We have baby boomers needing more healthcare. So there's a lot of impacts that have brought us to this point, but it should be no surprise from John Rustad, who sat in government and chose not to make decisions to invest into the future. So where we acknowledge there's more work to do, it's going to take investment, it's going to take time, and there's no quick and easy fixes to it.
We're hearing solutions from both sides as they look for votes. What's the Loyal Wooldridge solution to both?
Well, first and foremost, I think it's imperative that we collaborate with local government. That's why I started at the City of Kelowna, to really understand what our city needs and what the plans are. The last thing we need is someone swooping in and telling us what we're going to have. We just saw that recently with a second crossing being promised. Well, that's not even part of any of the plans in Kelowna. Anyone that has sat through a council meeting would know the majority of people crossing the bridge into Kelowna are coming to Kelowna. So a bypass isn't going to solve our congestion issues of Highway 97. We have a plan for that. We're advocating for it to the provincial government, that along with transit. But we have people that don't even live in Kelowna that are running for Kelowna Centre, making decisions for us that don't even align with city policy.
Were you surprised, by the way, when you heard that announcement from John Rustad this morning about a potential resurrection of a second crossing?
Not really, because it's a hot button issue that we have congestion issues in Kelowna. So to throw out there an irresponsible capital plan of a second crossing didn't really surprise me, or just swinging for votes. I'm ready to get to work on day one. And that's what I'm committed to, with proposals that are recommended by experts, by proposals that are created by traffic engineers, not politicians. And those are the people that we need to listen to in building our city, because if we have the most amount of people coming that are destined for Kelowna and we don't have a different transportation solution like a new transit yard, we're never going to fix the congestion issues. We really need to fix our transit system.
We've talked about Kelowna Centre and the riding and the diversification of the riding. Downtown, of course, you're probably hearing a lot about crime when you're talking to people. Absolutely. And then talk about your plan for that.
Yeah, so obviously safe communities is one of the top priorities that I hear about on the doorstep. I've knocked on thousands of them since June. And of course, on council, we hear about it every single day, and people should feel safe in our community, and that's what we need to work towards. David Eby launched the Repeat Violent Offender Initiative. And through that, we have about 40 individuals that are currently being held accountable, and we've seen major crimes reduce up to 40%, like business break-in enters, car thefts, car break-ins, and that's just from paying attention to those 40 people. We need to increase capacity there, but that's an initiative that David Eby started when he took government, and we're seeing results. Now we're going to start addressing the nonviolent offenders, and we saw that with our announcement about involuntary care, to make sure that we have care for people that can't make decisions on their own. There's a lot of work to do when it comes to crime and safety. It's, again, not an easy fix, but we should be looking to the party that has the actual plan, that doesn't just have a quick headline behind it, but that is actually committed to finding a solution to help people through this.
Involuntary care and decriminalization or criminalization of hard drugs has been a big hot button topic throughout the election. Why are you in favor of involuntary care, and also your position on criminalization / decriminalization?
Yeah, so I'll touch on decriminalization first, just to get it out of the way. This was a recommendation that came forward from government. We took the feedback from local governments, including our mayor here in Kelowna, that said this isn't working. We took the advice of police chiefs that said this isn't working, and we adjusted our sails and returned to not decriminalizing drugs. I believe that was the right decision. When it comes to involuntary care, we have worked so hard to build more supportive housing, to introduce complex care as voluntary options, but there's some people that are just not doing well in those environments. They're getting kicked out of shelters. They've incurred brain damage from repeated overdoses of synthetic drugs, and they're already struggling with mental health issues. And so what we've seen under the advice of Dr. Daniel Vigo is that their brain function is actually reduced, and they're incurring brain damage over and over again. And so what that's doing is that it's leaving people on the street that can't make decisions for themselves. So we have to look to a new model of care in a dignified way, like involuntary or mandatory care, in order for these folks to start a path to wellness. It's not safe for our community, it's not safe for those folks. And I think the analogy I always use is you wouldn't take someone that's in a dementia ward, put them on the street and say, okay, go make decisions for yourself. And so I don't know why that should be any different from folks that have incurred repeated brain damage from synthetic drugs.
We're told now that we'll need more medical professionals to work with these people.
I think across the board, you're going to hear that we need more medical professionals, more diagnostic professionals. Again, there's a huge influx into our health system, but we have to start diverting away from our hospitals as well, because obviously we hear about it every single day that our ERs are at capacity, our beds are at capacity, so we have to make sure that people are getting the right care in the right place, and the hospital isn't going to be that place for every single issue that we have.
What other issues are you hearing at the door?
Well, I'm definitely hearing about housing as well. And I'm really proud of the City of Kelowna. We have a really progressive official community plan that we passed last term that is seeing infill throughout the city. And with the new Housing Supply Act, we are going to see more infill and partnering with factory-built homes to build homes faster and more efficiently and more economically. Housing's has never been as expensive as it is now because of the cost of goods and labor. And so we have to find new ways to work with the private sector to deliver more housing quickly.
Loyal, as I do with everybody, I want to give you an opportunity as we wrap this up to look straight in the camera, look at your constituents of Kelowna Centre and give them the reason why they should put a check mark beside your name on October 19th.
Well, thanks so much, Wayne. And I would encourage everyone to do their homework around the candidate that best represents them. I've been busy doing the work for the past 2 terms on council. I know our challenges, but I also know the solutions to overcome them. And regardless of party, it's about choosing the person that knows our city best, that lives here, that does the work, and can get to work on day one to advocate for Kelowna. And that I am your candidate for Kelowna Centre.
Loyal Wooldridge, good luck October 19th. Kelowna Centre, NDP, looking to become the first NDP, actual NDP candidate elected in the Central Okanagan. Good luck with that.
Thank you. We're going to paint Kelowna orange. Thanks, Wayne.